What's up guys, my name is Jimmy Champane and today I'm here to tell you about 5 of the best horror movies you can watch on Netflix right now. I won't lie to you guys, the summer was pretty weak in terms of what we've had to watch on Netflix, but they just uploaded a ton of great horror movies. So while I picked out 5 of my favorites, there's actually a whole lot more than I'm talking about today. So if you want to see more videos on what you can watch on Netflix, let me know down in the comments. We're gonna start right out with The Void from Stephen Kaczynski and Jeremy Gillespie. It came out last year, technically in a very limited theater release, but where it really gained prominence was this year when it released on a bunch of different digital platforms. If I had to boil this one down, it's a straight up callback to classic 80s horror movies, and it has a ton of incredible practical effects. If I ranked it on the practical effects alone, I'd give it an A+, but I really didn't like the plot that much. The first half of the movie is great. A bunch of people get trapped in a local hospital that looks like it's straight out of the older Halloween movies, and then it kind of launches into this dimension hopping metaphysical type deal that just really didn't work for me. It takes a very hard left turn pretty much right in the middle of the movie. But I do think this movie is worth watching based on the practical effects alone and the fact that it calls back to movies that we all probably cherish. The next movie on our list is from IFC Midnight and it's called The Devil's Candy. This one was originally released in 2015, but IFC Midnight bought it and released it this year. Like I said, this movie stars Ethan Embry, and him, his wife, and his daughter, they move out into this country house which they definitely shouldn't be able to afford, but they get it on a steal, which, you know, is a pretty telling sign of what you're about to get into, but I won't spoil any of that. Right at the beginning, you find out that Pruitt Taylor Vincent's character used to live in the house, and he has kind of had a psychological lapse, and it is not good. This movie is less than 90 minutes long, which is kind of weird considering how The Dark Tower turned out, but it's visceral, it's raw, and its quick pace actually works. There's some insane imagery in this movie, and the heartfelt plot reminded me of the comic Witches, which is one of my favorite comics ever. So if you're gonna pick one movie on this list, I highly recommend The Devil's Candy. Third on the list, we have one of my favorite horror movies of all time, It Follows, but instead of hearing me gush about it for the millionth time, my friend Matthew Brando recorded a segment for this video just for me so you can hear him tell you why he really likes it as well.
Hello, Jimmy Champane viewers. I'm Matt Brando, and a lot like Jimmy, I like horror. And I would say my niche is the paranormal demon. Let me actually show you something real quick. Movies. The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty, and he actually signed it for me. And this is actually one of my favorite possessions. If I have a fire in this house, I'm taking this, besides my dog. And as far as modern day horror goes, It Follows ranks near the top. It's your standard possession film, but it's told in a Mike Myers container. A physical manifestation of an entity will come after you and kill you after you had sex with this STD. And it has tagged you for life until you have sex with a different person, and then it gets transferred off of you to them. Now, whilst the film is a little bit too reminiscent of the Halloween series in its imagery, the movie is quite good. There is a wonderful moment in a beach scene that is, I won't spoil anything, but seriously hair-raising. It Follows is a well-made movie, beginning and ending with its lead actor, Maka, I think it's how you pronounce her name, Monroe. Very beautiful and very talented as she was in The Guest. She did a great job. And it's pretty cool that a horror film takes place in Detroit. A lot of horror films in the Midwest take place in cornfields or rural areas, nothing really urban. So I really suggest you checking out this movie on Netflix, as I have it in my top horror films in the modern age. So I definitely suggest you check out this film on Netflix, as it ranks near the top for modern day horror, let alone paranormal ghost films. Thanks for having me on, Jimmy.
Before we move on to number 4, I wanted to thank Matthew for recording that segment for me. He's a great dude. If you haven't been on his channel before, which I'm sure you probably have, he does toy reviews and he talks about movies on his podcast I Just Saw. I really like what he's putting out, so I highly recommend you go check it out too. Fourth on the list, we have Cheap Thrills by E.L. Katz. It's kind of more of a dark, gory thriller than a horror movie, but I really like it. It came out in 2014, and as far as I know, this is the first time we've seen this one on Netflix, and I love it. You've definitely heard of David Koechner before, and now you know about Ethan Embry, but if you haven't heard of Pat Healy, he was in Ty West's movie The Innkeepers. He works with him a lot, and I really like him as an actor. He's just kind of got this cool attitude to him where he's always down in the dumps, and that plays really well for every movie he's in. Anyways, in this movie, David Koechner's character pays Ethan Embry's character and Pat Healy's character to do an increasingly insane amount of things for money. The stuff they do ranges anywhere from really funny to incredibly gross, and I won't spoil any of it because it's just worth seeing on your own. The fifth movie on my list is Clown, and it has a really weird story. The first weird thing about it is that it was made in 2013, but it sat on a shelf for 3 years until it was released on Blu-ray last year. That happens a lot with horror movies, but in this case, it turned out to be a really good movie, which almost never happens, so that's pretty cool. The other weird thing is how it was made. So a group of friends set out to make a fake trailer for a movie where a guy finds a clown suit and puts it on, but it turns out it's Demon's skin and takes over his body. Right at the beginning of the trailer, they put produced by Eli Roth. Now, Eli Roth didn't produce the trailer, but he did see the trailer, and that inspired him to produce the movie, which has the same plot, but all different actors. So the twist of the movie is that the only way to get the clown suit off is to eat 5 children. I'm not gonna say any more than that about the plot, but what I will say is that the practical effects in this movie are amazing. The blood, the gore, everything about it just looks really good, especially for a movie that's now 4 years old. The plot is actually pretty heartfelt too, and the monster looks really good. Even though it's a clown, which seems kind of dumb, it turned out great. And as an added bonus, Peter Stormare is in this movie. He's one of my favorite actors, and you definitely know who he is if you've seen Fargo, Twin Peaks, or American Gods. That's just scratching the surface on what he's been in. He's an incredible actor, and I love him. So there you have it, guys. That's 5 of the best horror movies on Netflix right now. If you like this list, you should definitely let me know by hitting the thumbs up and letting me know down in the comments. The 2 big things you can do to help out my small channel is to subscribe if you're not already and share this video on whatever social media you're on. If you do share it, make sure you tag me at Jimmy Champane. I'm that on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, so I'm pretty easy to find. Anyways, guys, my name is Jimmy Champane, and I'll see you in the next one. Have fun watching all of these horror movies, and thank you for watching.